Welcome to episode 131 of Rebirth Revolution. My name is Melissa Olson. I hope you're doing as well as can be expected this week. This is a hard place to be, but we knew that coming in. We just need to remind ourselves from time to time. This week, I've been thinking about the way our own personal development works and extrapolating that to the bigger picture of what is happening in the world. Here's the way it works. You came here with the accumulated wisdom and spiritual awareness level that you have earned in previous lifetimes. You are continuing your spiritual journey, trying to reach higher levels. To do this, you must put into play your honesty, integrity, empathy, and humility. You must welcome checks and balances. You must show concern for how your actions affect others. You must take in information from all around you and be willing to acknowledge when you are wrong and then course correct. You are doing all of this while being open to love, beauty, and joy. While you are bringing your best to the table, you must deal with the built-in weaknesses that come with being human. These weaknesses are pretty much summed up in the 7 deadly sins: lust, gluttony, greed, sloth, wrath, envy, and pride. Side note, the antidote to the 7 deadlies is gratitude. If you are able to be grateful for who you are and everything around you, you have no need to fall back into the 7 deadlies. There is no place for those weaknesses when you appreciate who you are and what you have. When you appreciate the fact that you are an eternal soul who was thoughtfully and specifically created, you have no reason to sell yourself short in any way. Okay, so we are here on a spiritual journey where we try to employ the highest aspects of our nature while overcoming the lower aspects of our nature. To complicate things further, you are here living a human existence, which includes starting from scratch at all things human, making all the human mistakes, and then growing into a deeper understanding of how all this being human actually works. An interesting rule of the game is that you are still deeply connected to the spirit world when you are a baby and a little child. But as your ability to communicate strengthens, the veil between the two worlds begins to drop, and you forget the other side. You forget that you are an exalted spirit. You forget how inextricably connected you are to your Creator and your guides and your ancestors. You forget the plan you came up with before you came here, which includes your mission and all who would be involved in that mission. You have to fly spiritually blind. At that point, any connection to spirit you have must be actively sought out and maintained by you. At all points, you have free will to make the choices you wish, and you have intuition, which is the thread that exists between you and the Creator. So we have the spiritual track that you are on and the human track that you are on. There is one additional track. There is the collective culture. That is the sum total of the progress that the souls in your culture have achieved. You are an active participant in moving the collective culture either forward, backward, or leaving it stuck where it is. Forward, for a culture, is creating a world in which each and every person is free to experience their highest levels of growth through the choices they make. Forward is a culture that embraces the fact that every single person is loved in equal measure by the one and only Creator who is their source. Forward is reaching a level of spiritual awareness that leaves us feeling nothing but love and compassion for ourselves and others. Backwards, for a culture, is making it impossible for everyone to use their free will to make choices, even though they are sometimes bad ones, and to impede their ability to grow to higher spiritual levels. Backwards is to advance the theory that the Creator only loves specific people and hates the rest. Backwards is to make life impossible to live for some, and, in the greatest sacrilege of all, say that you are doing it in the name of the Creator. We all play a role in deciding if we go forward or backward. At least some of us do. This 3-track experience I have described is difficult for many, especially those who currently inhabit the lower levels of spiritual awareness. They aren't yet comfortable with a world that is on its way to being fully realized. They are not yet fully engaged in their own growth, so they prefer to focus on what other people are doing or not doing instead. When you are at the higher levels of spiritual awareness, you realize that there are many different paths, all valid, to get to the higher levels. Those paths may run through this religion or that one, or through no religion at all. They may run through nature or through personal relationships. They may run through art or math or science. There is no one path to get to the highest levels. Most will travel through many different experiences on the way up. All of them are valid. Anything that opens you up to greater truths and makes you curious to keep learning more is a valid path. Some paths may teach you in the beginning and then lead you to a dead end. That is still a valid path. It's just a short one that will lift you to another path that contains more wisdom. Even the most rudimentary organized religion experience that teaches you that you are a spiritual being who should not kill other people is a valuable place to begin. But the minute that they tell you that other religions and other people are hated by the Creator, it is time to abandon that experience. It wasn't necessarily a bad choice. It was just a rudimentary one. The only bad choice is to feel that you need to stay there and allow your soul to be sullied by their hateful ways. Take what is good and keep it moving. You can learn all the lessons that you need to learn on any imaginable path in life. The greater truths and all wisdom exist everywhere. So put together your own strategy. Just keep in mind that your end goal is to be at a level where you feel nothing but love and compassion for yourself and others. Keeping this front of mind will give you the signal you need to remove yourself from any path that does not have that same end goal. Any path that has as one of its tenets the notion that the Creator loves anyone more than anyone else is faulty and more rooted in the 7 deadlies than it is in eternal wisdom. Any gathering that reeks of exclusivity, one that is dependent on in-group, out-group dynamics, is one to be abandoned. If you see entitlement, aversion to accountability, a lack of empathy, a lack of integrity, controlling behaviors, any means to an end strategies, or motivation attached to money, power, and status, you are in the wrong place. Those are all the attributes of the low levels of spiritual awareness, and they will always lead you astray. Your own development would best be started in a silent room by yourself. You must take the time to figure yourself out. You must take stock of where you are now and where you want to go next. You must take the time to see what you are next drawn to and then figure out what source you may glean that from. You are the best guide to your own adventure of personal and spiritual awareness. You, in this age of technology, have the wisdom of the ages at your fingertips. Only you can know what your next step should be. While this concept introduces a wild amount of personal freedom, it also introduces personal responsibility. You need to head up this project, and the results are within your control. We are reaching new levels. It is no longer enough to say that you belong to a church and attend once a week, as though that is any indication of personal or spiritual growth in and of itself. That means very little. It may be the worst kind of virtue signaling. You are here for much deeper work. You are not here to be told what you believe. You are here to root that out for yourself. Using your free will does not mean that you will choose one brand of spiritual software, download that into your brain, and then say, "This is everything that I believe." That is not using your free will. That is hiding behind someone else's thinking. You can say that you were born into one religion, raised in that religion, and that you stand by everything that religion believes, but that is not you making choices that will automatically lead you to higher levels. These ideas are not your own. They are not ones that you have examined against opposing thoughts. It is obedience instead of using your free will. Sheer obedience does not move you upwards in the manner that making your own choices will. It is submitting to the thoughts of others and avoiding your own spiritual journey and the work that entails. The confidence to steer your own ship comes with wisdom. That confidence also comes with being at higher levels of spiritual awareness. When you lack that confidence, you just want to be told what to do. You want to alleviate yourself of the responsibility for your own struggle to grow. This is part of being at the lower levels of spiritual awareness. Another marker of being at the lower levels is mistakenly thinking that if you could just get everyone else to do exactly what you think they should do, essentially stripping everyone else of their free will, that everything would be as it should. But growth doesn't work that way, not for individuals or collective cultures. Every struggle that we face as individuals can also be found in the entire classroom that is this planet. Every person's struggle to reach higher levels is also reflected in every neighborhood, city, state, country, and continent. We are all going through the same thing, though it may look dissimilar from place to place. We are all in this together. We are all drawn to finding our way to higher levels. We are all from the same source, so we are all living by the same earth rules. While we may individually fight the battle that moves us forward, backward, or keeps us cemented in place, each grouping of people all over the planet struggle with that same battle. Some world citizens want to have democracy, where the culture is a reflection of the current thoughts and dreams of its people. Some want to have one person who who makes all the decisions for them, relieving them from having to stretch and grow and use their own free will to learn the lessons that are required to move to a higher level. There is a sort of stilted freedom living under a dictator. You can wash your hands of all choices. They are made for you. But this is not the environment in which you can grow. This is not an environment that allows for people to find their own individual paths to their highest destination. This is not where people who are different and see things differently can thrive and expand our vision and understanding. Keep this in mind. You do not have to understand or be on board with all the ways that people are different. That is a huge order. But when you find yourself fixating on them, it is time for you to drop your fixation and focus on your own work. You, over time and at higher levels, will have an easier time understanding all the differences. Any lack of understanding you have now is not a reason to focus on them instead of focusing on what you need to do to grow to higher levels. It is just a distraction that keeps you from doing your own work. Keep your eyes on your own paper. If we want to live in a country where we are able to fully realize our own growth, we need to remind ourselves constantly that democracy is messy. Not everyone gets their way. But this is work that we are capable of doing. We can and must live in a pluralistic society, one where there is a diversity in the people in our collective culture and diversity in thoughts and beliefs. To do this, we must acknowledge that the work we need to do is our own. We need to heal our own wounds in whatever way is productive for us. We must live in our highest attributes. And we must fulfill our societal responsibility of ensuring that we remain in a democracy where everyone can continue to do their own work, taking whatever path makes sense to them. There is no one right way. We are not all the same. We are not supposed to be. But we are all here living with the same earth rules, and we all need the same things in life to keep it full of love, beauty, and joy. Let's keep it moving in the right direction, no matter how messy and sometimes discouraging that may be. Thanks for returning for another week of Rebirth Revolution. Go easy on yourself as you navigate these difficult times. Stay plugged into the love, beauty, and joy, even while worrying, quite appropriately, about the future of our world. You can always let me know how you're doing by emailing me at rebirthrev@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you. Rebirth Revolution can be found on all the podcast apps, the music apps, and full episodes play on YouTube and our Facebook page. Please subscribe, download, and share whenever possible. Until next week, spend some time in silence. Write down where you think you are now in your adventure. Stick with your COVID precautions, and write down where you want your adventure to go next. Remember, you are loved exactly as much as every other person on the planet, not 1 ounce more or 1 ounce less. Stay strong and safe and keep climbing.